Google Gemini now has an AI-powered study mode called Learning Coach. And in this video, I want to see if it's better or worse than ChatGPT's study mode called Study Mode. And then I want to see if these two are better or worse than just using regular ChatGPT or Google Gemini to work on your English, to improve your English skills. We're going to be looking at business English communication. We're going to be learning from a PDF, and we're also going to try pronunciation. So let's start with Learning Coach in Google Gemini. This is just one of those default options. Explain what factors led to the fall of the Roman Empire. Interesting, but we can't really judge it on that. Not my area of expertise. I want to focus on business English. I want to learn how to use natural business English / professional English communication. Why does it sound the way it does? What makes it different? How can I use it? It's an interesting question. What is business English? Is it just phrases that you learn? Or is it a way of speaking, depending on the situation? Or is it about tone? What the heck is it? Okay. I don't want to focus on reports or presentations. That should be an S there. I want to focus on spoken business English. Okay. So let's see how, and again, we're going to compare this to regular interactions later on. We're going to do this head-to-head with ChatGPT's study mode first, and then see how it looks with just default AI, right? So, in other words, is this, I don't know. The jury's out. Is this worth using these specialized modes, right? Okay, so let's see how it does this. We also, of course, need to see how it guides us through existing materials, right? Uploading a PDF. We're going to do that next. Okay, that's an excellent goal. Learning to communicate effectively in professional English is a valuable skill that can open up a lot of opportunities. Think of business English as a specific dialect. It has its own rhythm, vocabulary, and way of getting a point across. It's designed to be clear, concise, and professional, and it's a bit different from how you might talk with friends or family. Not me. I use business English all the time with my friends, and especially my family. When I talk to my 2-year-old son, I say, no, well, I have to learn business English first. Let me first learn business English, then I can begin talking with my son. Let's break down how you can master spoken business English into a learning plan. Okay, so we have a learning plan, and that's helpful. Would I get that in regular Gemini? I don't know. Maybe not. The foundations of business English, common phrases and idioms, professional tone and politeness, that's definitely important, and navigating business conversations. Ready to get started? Okay, so hopefully, and what makes something useful as a learning tool or a study mode is that it's very interactive. A good teacher doesn't just say, now let me ramble at you for an hour and a half, and you shut up and take notes. No, a good tutor, teacher, learning coach, whatever, is very interactive, very back and forth, always confirming at each step that you understand what's happening, that you get it, so that you can then build. The building part is crucial, because if you don't have step 1, we shouldn't go to step 2, right? Okay, so am I ready to get started? Yarf, I am. Let's go to step 2. Okay, thank you for letting me know. And is yarf an acceptable business English term in a meeting? Should we move forward with this $2 million proposal? Yarf. Okay, just to be clear, my purpose is to help you learn and practice new academic concepts. Okay. Is there a different academic topic you would like to explore? No, let's go. Why do you keep asking me? Okay. All right. I said let, but it took that as a yes. Okay. Spoken business English is all about being clear, concise, and professional. I would agree with that. It's different from casual conversation. How is it different? More direct. Instead of saying, I was wondering if maybe we could, you might say, could we meet at 3 p.m. to discuss? Okay, so that's more direct. You don't want to use a ton of words to say what you want to say. You say what you want to say as clearly and simply as possible. Yeah. You'll often use more formal vocabulary and sentence structures. For example, please find attached the report instead of here's the report. Okay, yeah, that's true. It does also tend to matter what the context is, right? Because there are definitely business relationships where you would use here's the report, right? Every industry has its own buzzwords like deliverables, synergy, quarterly earnings. Think of it like this. If casual English is a friendly chat over coffee, business English is a focused meeting with a clear purpose. Both are important, but they have different goals. How does that sound? Do you have any questions about these core ideas? That sounds good as an overview, but could we focus on some specific language and build it step by step? And the interesting thing is I don't think I can have a voice chat. From here, at least I can't. I'm on a browser. I'm in Google Chrome. That's a great idea. Getting into specifics is the best way to start building your vocabulary and confidence, okay? All right, so some specific phrases. Let's circle back on that. This means let's return to that topic later. It's a polite way to postpone a discussion, okay? Example, we've run out of time to discuss the budget, so let's circle back on that in our next meeting. Touch base, get the ball rolling. Ready for a little activity? Okay, so we're doing an activity to practice it. How would you professionally say, I'll talk to you for a little bit next week? Okay. How about this? Why don't we circle back on this next week and decide once we touch base when exactly we should get the ball rolling? I'm using all of them. It might say too many in one sentence, which, yeah, it's a little awkward. Okay, you used all three phrases perfectly in a way that sounds natural and professional. Now, why don't we just put the same prompt into ChatGPT, exactly the same? And we're not going to do all of that. I just want to see how it kind of kicks things off. I've reviewed ChatGPT's study mode, and I struggled to find the difference between regular ChatGPT and the study mode. But I think here we're getting hopefully a bigger view, and we'll be able to get a more clear distinction on what the difference is. So we're getting some questions. Let me ask 2 questions to guide your learning. What's your main situation for using business English? I use it in meetings, for networking, events, and video calls. And then, have you noticed anything that feels unnatural or different? I often feel like I am too formal or too casual in these situations and can't find the balance. I like that it asks a couple questions at the start. Okay, why spoken business English sounds the way it does? It's clear but not stiff. I have to say, one thing ChatGPT always wins on over pretty much any other AI tool is its use of emojis as a way to kind of get a point across clearly and remain clear but also concise. Clear but not stiff. People speak in short, direct sentences, not long, formal ones. They often soften their ideas using polite expressions, but not with complex grammar. Too formal. It is my belief that the quarterly figures reflect a positive trend. Natural. I think the numbers look good this quarter. Yes, that is straightforward. It's collaborative, not commanding. Good business English often sounds like a discussion, not a lecture. You'll use phrases like, what are your thoughts on? Would it make sense to? Let's take a quick look at, these are softeners and framing devices. They help you sound professional without being cold or robotic. It uses structured flexibility. People often use patterns to stay organized, but keep the tone friendly. Example. So just to recap, we've agreed on 3 things. First, we'll update the landing page. Second, we'll test new ad copy. And third, we'll review results next Friday. Let's try this together. Someone asks you, what do you think about the new project timeline? Now I want you to try replying in 2 different ways. Number 1, a version that feels too formal or stiff. 2, a version that feels too casual. Okay? So it's asking me, this is interesting, it's asking me to do it wrong. And doing things wrong intentionally is also a good way to learn the right way. So I kind of like that approach. That's a very teacherly approach. That's good. I think maybe they've made improvements to study mode. I have some concerns that the timeline might prohibit adequate discussion on the issues that need to be decided. That's crazy. Okay. A version that feels too casual. I don't know what you guys think, but it feels too short for me, I guess. Now, I would say the second one is actually better than the first, depending on the situation, but in most cases, I think it's better to be, if you know these people reasonably well, saying you guys is not wrong or crazy, especially in modern business English, especially in America. It's pretty informal, especially if you're in a tech company and people talk like they just rolled out of bed. Yeah, whatever you guys think. Maybe that is business English now. I don't know. It's changing very quickly. So here's the middle ground version. I'm a bit concerned the timeline might not leave enough space for proper discussion. Does anyone else feel that way? All right, yeah, that's pretty good. So I like the question and answer back and forth. I like the creativity of the exercise of try to do it wrong in two different ways and then finding a middle ground. Between the two, I have to be honest, I think for this specific interaction, I prefer ChatGPT. I prefer Learn mode. The question is, for these modes, how different are they from just using out-of-the-box ChatGPT and Gemini? So we're not going to go through it again, but I do want to just see the difference in opening for these. So we'll start a new chat, no Learn mode, same prompt, paste, and I want to see how it starts. Here's a breakdown that explains why it sounds the way it does, okay? All right, so there's the overview. It's pattern-based, similar explanation. What makes the difference? I don't get it. Can you walk me through that again? That sucks. That's not ideal. Let me check. I like this side by side. That's cool. How you can use it. Use buffer language. I see where you're coming from, but that's a valid point. Another angle might be upgrade basic verbs, talk, discuss, fix, resolve, check, review, do again, revisit. So the clear difference here is right at the beginning of Learn mode, I was asked a couple of questions to clarify my intent and context. And then while there was an explanation at the beginning, the emphasis was on creating a back and forth, doing an exercise, getting me to answer a question. And here it's more like, here's, which is also, I think, good. Here's an overview. Let me explain. More of, I guess, if it's learning, the lecture versus the tutor, right? The lecture is, I'm just going to say everything. You let me know if you have any questions at the end. The tutor is, let's think carefully about how we do this. Let's go step by step. I'm going to ask questions along the way and make it as interactive as possible, which is how it should be. So let me know if you'd like, and then I get to choose the kind of follow-up that I want, a cheat sheet. And so it's more open world, I guess we could say. Now, I guess I should do the same thing for Gemini, although I do want to move on. Okay, new chat, same prompt. It's great that you want to focus on spoken business English. This is a crucial area for professional success. Okay, and again, it's a very long explanation, and it's giving me a guide for how to practice, but it's clearly not optimized or oriented around helping me practice. Now, what we want to see is, what if it's a different kind of thing? What if I want to learn from an existing PDF and have it walk me through that information? So let's try that. All right, now I have a PDF on quantifiers. This is from section 21 of my course, Master Native English, which is, I think, a great course that takes you through a lot of fantastic material. This course is the backbone of the 90-day program. There are 4 other courses that are branches that branch off of this main backbone. When you complete each section of the 90-day program, you then get assignments in your email with a link to practice the assignments and get feedback, custom feedback relevant to that assignment. And then you can practice with my custom AI chat, Kathy, to practice your spoken English skills, and I'm there throughout the 90-day program. So check that out in the links in the description. You can also get a free study plan in the links in the description. Okay, now this is cool. It's starting to blend a little bit into Notebook LM. It's asking me if I want an audio overview. So what the heck? I'll click on that and see what happens. And then what's going to happen? Okay, your audio overview is being generated. You can leave this chat in the meantime. Well, what if I want to continue just learning? No, I want to learn from this PDF. Oh, okay. So once I do the audio overview, that's it. That's it. Cancel audio overview. No, I don't want to cancel it. All right, so let's just wait patiently and see what we get.
Okay, so let's dive in. Quantifiers. Ever find yourself, tripping over when to use a little versus just little? Welcome to the deep dive. We've taken that stack of sources on English quantifiers,
Right.
those words telling us how much or how many. And really, the mission is simple. Give you that instant framework, Cut through the overload. Okay, let's unpack this. It seems like the whole thing really hinges on one big distinction first. Countable versus uncountable nouns.
Okay, so it's just a regular audio overview from Notebook LM. These are starting to feel a little dated. The voices are always the same. They always talk about things in the same way. They use the same intonation, the same exact style. It's of limited use, but okay, maybe interesting as a refresher, right? Kind of a gimmick. If I'm going to use something, I'm probably going to use a tool like Skywork, which I just did a full review on. I'm not being sponsored to say this in this video. Skywork is a much better way to generate audio overviews because it's more customizable and it has an agent built into it. So, but it legitimately, Skywork is very good, very good. Okay, so let's see if we can now continue. Please teach me the content of the PDF. I don't want to hear any more Californians teaching me about quantifiers. I'd be happy to help you learn about quantifiers. This is a great topic, okay? In a nutshell, quantifiers are words that tell us about quantity or number. They tell us about how much or many of something there is. For example, instead of saying, I have money, you could say, I have a lot of money, or I have a little money, which gives a clearer picture. So here we have a learning plan. Quantifiers are uncountable nouns. Quantifiers for both countable and uncountable nouns. Quantifiers for countable nouns. Are you ready to begin? And we're not going to do all of this, but let's just take the first step or two, and then we'll look at ChatGPT. Yarf. I don't know why I insist on doing that today. It's my new thing. I only say yarf. All right, let's start with quantifiers for uncountable nouns. These are things you can't count individually, like water, sand, or in this case, coffee and time. Yeah. A little means there's a small amount, but not necessarily. I don't know if I agree with that. Think of it as a positive quantity. For example, if your friend asks for coffee, you could say, there's a little coffee left if you want some. Not always. I can think of examples where you wouldn't necessarily mean enough. But yeah, in many cases it could be a little coffee, yeah. Little without means there is very little and often not enough. Yeah, that's true. Okay, that's true. That's true. It has a more negative or limited feeling. For example, there's too little time to finish the project. It's impossible. That's a good example. Now for a similar word, a bit. The document also mentions a bit as an uncountable quantifier. A bit as an uncountable quantifier, it's very similar to a little and is often used in a similar way. You might say, you've got a bit of sauce on your face. It can also be used for exaggeration, like there's a bit of an issue with the server. Now, one issue I have here is just formatting, cutting these lines off in an awkward way, having to put the link thing here so it breaks into the next line. It's just visually a little awkward, but okay, not bad. I want to see how ChatGPT handles this. So let's start a new chat and let's go to study and learn. Let's upload the PDF, but you also get, as part of the 90-day program, all of the PDFs in the program are available, of course. You can use them to help you learn, but also there are a lot of lessons. It's over 50 hours of lessons throughout the program. You're practicing a lot of assignments to work on your skills. I'm always there to help. So anyway, I think it's good. So, okay, what if I just submit this and see what happens? Guide your quantifier sheet. It covers a little, a bit, not much, enough, a lot, lots, many, some, a couple, few, several, any, none, no. What do you want to do with it today? Practice for you or build a mini lesson? Let's do a mini lesson. All right, let's keep it short, focused, and interactive. This mini lesson will focus on countable versus uncountable quantifiers using the categories from your PDF. Part 1, warm up. Let's get your brain going. Which of these are countable and which are uncountable? Let's see. I like that it starts with a question. I think ChatGPT's study mode may be better than it was when I first tested it. I like that it's very Q&A based, very interactive, very back and forth, not obvious as well. And a little bit, a depth of thought there. How would I as a teacher start a quantifiers lesson? The first thing I have to do before we talk about what the heck a quantifier is, forget about it. We need to understand which thing is countable and which is uncountable. So I'm going to ask you which of these is countable and which is uncountable. Once you understand that concept, then we can get into the phrases. So I like this order of operations as a tutor. Countable, apples, water, I know that's wrong. Chairs, and then uncountable, these are all wrong. So I'm going to see what happens if it's wrong. Rice, but rice is right. Yeah, minutes. Okay, so let's see how I get corrected here. Close. Let's go one by one. I like this way of correcting. I got it right. Countable, apples, water, actually uncountable. Oh, chairs countable, rice uncountable, minutes, actually countable. Okay, true. Part 2, choose the right quantifier. Match these quantifiers to the correct type of noun. Just write C, countable, U, uncountable, or both. I like that. Okay, so it's giving me a shorthand way of answering. 1, C. 2, a little time, a little money, a little minutes. No. U. 3, some, can be both. CU. 4, I'm going to do wrong on purpose. So many should be U. Many should actually be C. And 5, what's 5 again? 5 is much, like too much, so much. CU. Again, I want to see how it gives feedback based on answers that are, some of them are correct and some of them are incorrect. Oh no! A few, C, correct. A little, U, correct. Some, both, correct. Many, actually countable. Oh no. Much, actually uncountable. Oh no. Okay, correct answers, and then use it or fix it. Here are 3 sentences. Tell me which are okay and which need to be fixed. Now here I want to ask a question. Can you first explain why much is uncountable and cannot be used for countable things? Think about what much actually means, a large amount of something. The word amount gives a clue. You use it when the thing you're thinking about can't be counted one by one, is measured instead. Volume, weight, time. Okay, water, sugar, time, information, money. So you can say, how much water do you drink? She doesn't have much time. We didn't spend much money. Wrong would be, I don't have much friends, because friends are countable, because you don't measure friends in a bowl, right? You measure things that are uncountable in a bowl like rice, for example. I don't have many friends. Many is used with countable nouns. Got it. Can you think of one uncountable noun and make a sentence with much? I'll help you fix it if needed. I have to say, look back at my previous study mode review. It wasn't this intuitive as a tutor before, and I'm finding it to really be better than Google's mode. And I like the way it's walking me through things. I have to say, I'm changing my mind on study mode. It's not the same as standard ChatGPT, and it's pretty intuitive as a mode for learning. I like it. But can it do this? The final challenge. The final test. I want you to teach me how native English speakers blend or link words when speaking to sound natural. Help me speak whole sentences naturally. This is tough to do in a chat bot, maybe very difficult or even almost impossible, but if explained correctly in a very creative way, it can be done. And I know that because I don't want to brag, but I've done it many times. Let's build this step by step. First, I need to know, what is your current level with pronunciation, and have you ever practiced linking or blending before? I am at an intermediate level, and I have not practiced these before. Okay, maybe I just know the terms. Oh, I missed the information here. So this should have just asked me that question right away and waited for my response before providing additional information. Okay. All right, so it's starting over, but it should have just asked me that, to be honest. If a word ends in a consonant sound and the next word starts with a vowel sound, they get linked together. It sounds like one word instead of two. Example, pick it up. Say it word by word. Pick it up. Now say it naturally, linking them. Pick it up. Well, it's not really... Okay, sounds like pick it up. It up. It up. Pick it up or pick it up. All in one unit. That is better, but what it should really say there is usually there's a D sound there so that the voice doesn't have to break. In reality, it's voiced sounds that get blended together so the voice doesn't have to stop. And what often happens is even sounds that are not voiced, like t, get turned into voiced sounds like d, right? Not all unvoiced sounds, but t turns into d often so that the voice doesn't have to break. If the voice doesn't break, it sounds more natural. So instead of pick it up, that's better, but still native English speakers aren't going to say it up. They're going to say it up. So they're going to say pick it up, pick. So the voice stops there. It up. But okay, better. So I would write a D there, and then I would explain why the D should be there instead of the T. Hey there. Can you help me with this?
Absolutely. I'm here to help. So let's keep going with that linking practice. We've got our first example, turn off the light. If you've given that a try, let me know how it felt. And if it feels a bit strange at first, that's totally normal. We'll do a couple more sentences and you'll get the hang of it step by step.
Okay, can you say it a little more slowly, that phrase we're working on?
Of course, I can definitely slow it down. Let's take that phrase, turn off the light, nice and slow. So first you'd say it piece by piece, turn off the light. And now we'll link it slowly, turn off the light. Just let those words flow together. Give that a try, and we'll keep building from there.
All right, I will. Let me give it a try. Here we go. Turn off the light.
That's great. You're already starting to get the hang of it. You linked turn and off pretty smoothly there. Now, as you get more comfortable, you can say it a little faster and let it feel natural.
What about the last two words, the light? Should those go together, or are those very clearly separated?
That's a really good question. So with the light, we actually do a little bit of linking there too. Even though it's subtle, you'll find that the just glides right into light. So it's not two completely separate words. It's
and
more
why
like
is that? Why does it glide right into light? Why? Tell me why. Explain it.
Absolutely. Let's break that down. So the reason it glides together is because in natural speech, we tend to smooth out those little boundaries between words, especially when one word ends in a vowel sound and the next word starts with a consonant. In this case, the often sounds like the, which ends in a little vowel sound, and light starts with an L.
Nonsense. Okay, no, not correct. It's because they're both voiced sounds. They're both voiced sounds. These are two voiced sounds. They're side by side. And so simply, you do not stop your voice between them. Allowing you to continue your voice is one of the main things which makes a sentence sound native and natural. That's the secret to native and natural English, is knowing when to not turn off your voice. Turn off. That stops. The light. Turn off the light. The voice doesn't stop. That's it. That's why. The question I asked at the beginning, which is better between Gemini's learning coach and ChatGPT's study mode, I think I have to give it to study mode pretty clearly. More intuitive, better at planning, better formatting, better follow-ups, better exercises. I just think it's better. Now, are both of these better than just using out-of-the-box Google Gemini or ChatGPT without using the learning or study modes? I think so. I think if I were learning with either of them, I would prefer them to having to prompt everything that I want. Because at least with Google's learning coach, I get the study plan and it's back and forth. It's pretty good. It's interactive. And definitely now with ChatGPT, I think it's very clearly not just explaining something, the lecture approach, but really trying to interact, trying to get me to practice so that I can learn through experience rather than just trying to learn from consuming information, right? Which is the value of a study mode, in my opinion. So I think they've made big improvements to study mode. It's definitely better than the last time I tested it. But try it out for yourself. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. It's a very simple way to support the channel. An easy thing to do, but it helps a lot. You can also check out the 90-day program or get a free study plan in the links in the description. You answer a few questions. It's a short quiz, and then you get a custom study plan just for you that you can download as a PDF. So check that out. That's free. Link is in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.